Death, taxes, and the Dallas Stars beating the Minnesota Wild.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Happy Monday, Stars fans. What a week for the Dallas Stars. They go 3-0 and cap it off with a huge Central Division win over the Minnesota Wild on the road by a final score of 2-1. The Stars continue to dominate the Minnesota Wild over the past few seasons. We're going to break down that game. We're going to talk about Ilya Lyubushkin, who is thriving with the Dallas Stars, and we'll preview the Anaheim Ducks for tonight. A beautiful week of hockey for the Dallas Stars as they are starting to build momentum. That's my biggest takeaway from this last week. The Stars are building momentum. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Comment below, drop a like as well. Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Still searching for a great candidate for your company? Don't search, just match with Indeed. The Stars are beginning to build some momentum. It started with two offensive explosions last week against Pittsburgh and then Boston, and now a huge Central Division win over Minnesota in a playoff-type feel of game in St. Paul. And it had everything you wanted to see from the Dallas Stars. Gritty, physical, offense at the right times, and brilliant goaltending from Jake Oettinger down the stretch to seal the win. And I don't think this was the Minnesota Wild's best performance of the season. They're missing Joel Eriksson-Ek. They're missing Brodin. They're missing Zuccarello, of course. But who cares? It is a road victory for the Dallas Stars against a team that has been rolling. And the Stars went into St. Paul and dictated the game for the majority of Saturday night's contest. They dictated the play from the outset. Matt Dumba, welcome back to the lineup, played his best game as a Dallas Star, in my opinion. I was a bit ticked off that Nils Lundqvist was healthy scratched, but hey, Matt Dumba had an excellent game. He looked rejuvenated, a huge fight at the end of the first period, the first from Brendan Smith. How about the two free agent signings coming in and absolutely setting the physical tone for Dallas? They were not going to be pushed around. They were not going to be pushed around on Saturday night. They rose to the occasion. We didn't see that against Winnipeg a week ago. Not even close to that type of effort and energy. They were all in St. Paul, and they took it to Minnesota, and the Wild fought to the very end, but the Stars were able to close out a victory. I mean, they outshot the Wild 40-23. You look at the Corsi for percentages at 5-on-5. I mean, the Stars were in the 60 percentile for the first two periods. Of course, the Wild pushed towards the end, and if it wasn't for a post, they would have tied the game late. But Dallas really controlled the game. You look at the scoring chances, 39-17. Like that is taking it to an opposition. That's not sitting back. And it's not like Dallas was holding on for dear life the entire third period. They played a really, really solid game. And yes, the Wild had a great push towards the end, as you would expect, on their home ice. They're still a great team. Gustafsson held them in it. And you could certainly make the case the Stars shot a lot of pucks from outside the tops of the circles in that first period to sort of pad those stats. But then they started getting traffic in front of Gustafsson. And that's where Mason Marchment comes to play. What a week for Mason Marchment. My bold prediction was he has 30 this year, and he's on a decent pace. He's now has 6 goals this season, 2 of them on Saturday in Minnesota. The first one just going to the net Ilya Lyubushkin, who we're going to talk about a bit later on, fires a puck towards the net. He gets a fortuitous bounce off the shin pad of Marchment. It beats Gustafsson. And then Marchment goes right to the top of the crease, as he usually does in the third period, to add the insurance late for Dallas. And that proved to be the game-winning goal. But Marchment goes to the net. It's an excellent stretch pass by Lybushkin behind Kaprizov, just spring Steele. Steele takes it to the top of the crease, and then Marchment follows the puck there, and there's loose change. He buries it home, and that's the difference maker. The Stars going to the front of the net. This is a huge, huge week for momentum building, and we can talk about Marchment. What a performance this past week. He had the 5 assists in the game, or not the 5 assists, but the 5 points against Boston, or excuse me, against Pittsburgh. He had a goal and assist against Boston, and then he follows it up with a couple of goals on Saturday against Minnesota. But what a week for him, obviously. 9 points in the 3 games. 17 different Stars had points this past week. Oettinger stopped 65 of 69. Massive saves down the stretch when Dallas needed him the most. He's coming up big when the Dallas Stars need him. Jake Oettinger is proving to be that number one guy that can shut it down when he needs to be. And it was good to see that against Minnesota. We need to see it more consistently against the best teams, of course. But, you know, I'll always back Jake Oettinger. I'm higher on him than maybe others in the Dallas Stars fandom. But what a performance. I thought it was such a strong game from everybody involved. Matt Dumba, great performance checking back into the lineup. Brendan Smith has looked really, really good. He's been a pleasant surprise. Miro was very engaged. He was flying around. I mean, that first period, he was dominating. He was shifty. Him and Lindell are just a match made in heaven. They should be together the rest of the year. That is an elite pairing for the Dallas Stars. Harley's involved. You look at Lybushkin, a 4.20 game score, graded out the highest for the Dallas Stars last night. And again, this Marchment line is something. I honestly don't know how. I really don't. Well, I do. It's Matt Duchene. He's kind of stirring the pot for this trio. I mean, Sagan could have had another goal. They ended up with 7 scoring chances on the night. They just, every time they're on the sheet, they're making things happen. Fourth line was great. Bork, Beck, and Steele. So good. And the thing that really gives me hope, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe this is the overarching viewpoint from Saturday, or just this past week, we still haven't had really anything from Jason Robertson and Rope Hintz. Haven't had anything. And Dallas is putting up some of these offensive numbers, and they just win a low-scoring game on the road against a really, really good team that's off to a fantastic start. And we haven't seen Jason Robertson or Rope Hintz at all. At all. And Dallas is finding a way to get it done. And it is the depth. The depth is being very productive. The back end has improved immensely over the last month or so. It was a bit, helter-skelter there for a bit. It was to be expected, though. There's a lot of new faces they're trying to work into the lineup. And I know I was pretty strong with my words on Matt Dumba on Friday night. But again, Dumba was playing in a more suitable role for him, not as a top 4 defenseman. And that's where I think he should live, because I think he can be productive. I have said that. About Matt Dumba. But I still agree with my point from last week. I don't think he's one of the 6 best defensemen up until that point. More performances like that, okay. Yeah, you're going to find yourself in the lineup more. And head coach Pete DeBoer said post game that he really liked what he brought to the lineup, and Dallas needed that physical presence. You love to see that out of Brendan Smith and Lybushkin. And I've said this a few times but I have to reiterate it. I don't care what Matt Dumba and Smith bring in terms of their whole package of a player. Bring what they bring what is their strength, and that is physicality. That is physicality and their strength. Be physical. If you're going to take some penalties, you're going to take some penalties, but do what you do best. I don't need Dumba and Smith to be the Miro Heiskanens, right? And they understand that. But if you're going to be a consistent player in the lineup, bring what you bring. And I thought that was a perfect representation of what Matt Dumba can bring to the Dallas Stars. And you look at the time on ice, I think it's just perfect representation of what the Stars are trying to do. Lindell over 26 minutes. Miro just over 23 and a half. Lybushkin just under 18. You got Dumba down there under 15. I know he had a fight, so he's off the sheet for a while there. But, Dumba just right around 15 minutes, which is sort of where Niels Lundqvist has lived over the past few seasons when he's been in the lineup. That's where Matt Dumba can live, be productive for the Dallas Stars, and not be a weakness. Not be a weakness. It's about bringing out his strengths in the lineup. And I think with the healthy scratches of Matt Dumba, the Stars found some solutions that were maybe unattended, but they found them and they're okay. Now we have an idea of what can put this defense in the best position possible. Yes, they need another body. They're going to need a pickup at the deadline to be a real contender. But this can work. It's November. You can win games this way. And they proved it on Saturday. And yes, the Wild were shorthanded. They didn't look all that great. They were a bit choppy in their game. They weren't they weren't very cohesive. I thought they probably shot themselves in the foot more than the Stars necessarily dominated them. I don't think they dominated. I just thought Dallas controlled the game. They controlled the pace. They played Dallas Stars hockey, right? In quotations. They played their game. They forced Minnesota to play their style, and that benefits Dallas. And it's a huge win, and they're building momentum. 3-0 week. Oettinger with huge saves down the stretch, which you need. Marchment and the Duchesne line, night after night, they're dominating. Stankoven is so much fun. That move around Spurgeon. Oh, I would have pulled the bus over on the way home last night from Oklahoma City. It's I would have knocked the bus over if he scored on that. Just an incredible, savvy move from him. Unfortunately, Gustafson came up with the save. But look, it's the Stars building momentum. It's a big Central Division win. They needed it, and it's huge. It's huge heading into tonight against Anaheim. Okay, now to the main event, really, the meat and potatoes of this thing. Ilya Lyubushkin. What a signing this guy has been. And I was wrong on Ilya Lyubushkin. I was wrong on him. I was wrong. I was upset to some degree when the Stars went out and signed him on July 1st. But he's shoving the words right back in my mouth. I'll tell you why in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can get in on the action on the football boards, the hockey boards, soccer, you name it, they have it on Prize Picks. This week, Justin Jefferson, more than 83.5 receiving yards. Patrick Mahomes, more or less than 267.5 passing yards. Those are the type of props you can bet on. And if you get a couple right, you can win some cash. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Don't even have to win it. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Ilya Lyubushkin is quickly becoming one of my favorite players on the Dallas Stars. He truly is. This is my take. Okay, bear with me. He's sort of the Chris Tanev right now for the Dallas Stars. I'm not saying he's as successful as Chris Tanev was, but he's bringing a lot of the same characteristics that we saw from Chris Tanev and filling in a void after the Tanev departure. Offensively, he's been pretty darn good. 2 assists the other night. He's got 5 points this season. He can show some flashes, but he is a shut-down defenseman. Him and Lindell are the new Tanev and Lindell. Lyubushkin is thriving here in Dallas. And you look at the game against Minnesota. Shots on goal with Lyubushkin on the ice. 19 versus 7. 19 shots for, 7 against. I mean, that is fantastic stuff. The Corsi for percentage with Lyubushkin, 58%. It's almost 59%. That is 7th on the Stars. And he graded out the best star via Hockey Stat Cards. You know I love this. 4.20 game score. His expected goals against 0.17. Just 0.17. And yeah, he was on the ice for a couple of goals. He is doing everything that Chris Tanev was doing last spring. He really is. He's blocking shots. He's second on the team, just behind Lindell. He's played the second most amount of minutes on the penalty kill, just behind Lindell. You look at what he's done with Thomas Harley, which allows Harley to be more offensive than he ever would have been with Yanni Hakanpää, which they kind of tested out early in the season before they went to Harley and Heiskanen. And he's just been a monster this season. 42 penalty kill minutes. He's played the 4th most amount of minutes on the Stars this season among defensemen. He's behind Esa, Thomas, and Miro, which you would expect. And I just think he's been so brilliant for the Stars. And he's sort of filling that Chris Tanev void, which we thought they were going to have to do with a couple of guys. But Lyubushkin has been the man. I just love his game. I love his game. He's so steady. He just plays within himself. I think that's what really jumps. Just plays within himself, kind of like Lindell. Understands his strengths. He moves the puck very well. I mean, the pass he had to steal for the second Marchment goal was just an excellent outlet pass. And he's been a wonderful sign. I mean, round of applause for general manager Jim Nill. I know a lot of us scoffed at it. Including myself, albeit I was higher on him than Matt Dumba. And as you know, as the summer went along, I thought, okay, Lyubushkin felt like somebody that could work more just because of what Dallas has in Harley and Miro. We thought that could be a possible pairing. I really wanted to see him with Miro, but him and Harley have been 2 peas in a pot. And he's playing his time on ice this season. You know, he came into the season, he really averaged about 17 minutes a night. He's about 17 and a half this season. So, you know, they're not playing him like a crazy amount more. But you know, he's been an upgrade on the penalty kill. He's been an upgrade there. And he's just been an upgrade in terms of the Stars team defense. And if you look at some of the, you know, advanced numbers, Dallas should probably be giving up a bit more at 5-on-5. It's their goaltending that's kind of saved them a bit. You look at the goal save above expected. This came out yesterday. Stars are second in the league at 12.1 because Otter and DeSmith have been very good. So, maybe Dallas should be giving up a bit more. But, I feel like Saturday just tells you what, Lybushkin is bringing. 19 shots for and just 7 against and 2 assists. And, he's not giving up anything. He's just been real stout. Love his style of game. I really do. He's been such a great signing, and has been a great plug and play. And he's sort of been a Chris Tanev-like figure here and down. He's tough. He blocks shots. He's really good on the penalty kill. And he's a bit more mobile than Tanev is at this point in his career, just because Tanev's dealt with a lot of injuries. Lybushkin doesn't have that type of history, and he's just been a fantastic addition to this D-core. So we have to show him some love on Locked On Stars. Shout out to Ilya Lyubushkin and his great start. Thought he played, really his best game as a Dallas Star the other night in St. Paul. And, he's going to be a key cog in this thing. I really believe that he's going to be a key cog with the Dallas Stars moving forward. And I think he's been worth his weight in gold right now. He really has, since Dumba's starting to kind of figure it out. Hopefully he gets a rhythm. We haven't seen Dumba's best stuff. Hopefully Saturday night is a sign of hopefully some more good things to come. But Lybushkin has blown my expectations out of the water. So, had to throw some love over to 46. All righty. Enough tire pumping here on Locked On Stars. Time to get prepared tonight. Stars on a mini 3-game road trip beginning tonight in Anaheim. They have, mini 2-game homestand. It's been a long few weeks. I'm finally home, was on an 9-hour bus trip through the middle of the night. So I don't even know what day it is half the time. 2-game homestand, I should say. A couple California teams coming to Dallas, beginning tonight with Anaheim and then Wednesday in San Jose. Let's preview the Ducks, who continue to struggle. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Indeed. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. It's all about finding candidates that match your job description and your job requirements. You are busy. You don't have time to wait around all day looking for the right candidates. Indeed gives you the candidates that match the resume that you want. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. You need Indeed. The Dallas Stars on a 3-game win streak, looking to extend it to 4 tonight against the Anaheim Ducks, who are off to an abysmal start. A team that felt like a few years ago was going to make some strides, make some leaps with their young talent, and it just has not come to fruition. They're coming off a big 6-4 win over Detroit. However, they're 7th in the Pacific, 6-8-2 so far this season. They're not scoring very much. The offense has really been down. Just 39 goals this season in their first 15 games, or 16 games, 39 goals. That's 32nd. They're giving up. They've given up 50, which is 8th in the NHL. They had to make a roster move yesterday. Mason McTavish, who is a fun little player to watch, was put on the IR, so they're going to be without him. Cam Fowler has been out with an injury. They've lost Robbie Fabry as well. He's expected to miss 6 weeks. Troy Terry's their leading scorer with 12 points this season. Carlson, the young 20-year-old, has 9 points this season, but it's just a lot of young players that Really needs some guidance, to be frank. It's just kind of a mosh posh of really fun prospects. Their goaltending's been phenomenal. Lucas Dostal is 4-6-2, but he's faced the most amount of shots this year. He has the most amount of saves. His numbers are brilliant. Even with this losing record, 922 save percentage, 2.75 goals against. That's comfortably in the top, 15 for both of those categories. But he's faced the most amount of shots. Gibson has not played a ton, only a couple games, right? Dostal's sort of been their number one guys. Gibson just came back from an injury, so expect to see Dostal tonight. Dostal tonight. But look, it's a team that Dallas is better than. But as we've seen with San Jose over the last few seasons, Dallas has certainly had their troubles. But it's a young team that really, right? They have no expectations. They have nothing to lose. It's going to be a test. But the way Dallas is sort of rocking right now, it feels like they could have a huge game. Coming back home, though, hopefully there's not a letdown after the big divisional win on Saturday. That could play a factor. Hopefully there's not a bit of a hangover, but Stars are a veteran group. You hope they wouldn't have that sort of a mindset or attitude heading into Monday night. But look, we've seen the Stars dance around and dance their way into games, and that can prove costly. But you're obviously better than this team. Hopefully they prove it. An Anaheim side that has been really rough to open the season. And it kind of stinks. Just felt like a few years ago they were on the right track and they've gotten some good draft picks, picking up some capital. Just hasn't panned out. They haven't put all the right ingredients into the pot quite yet. But let's go ahead, end this with a shooting star pick. Be sure to cast your vote on the YouTube community tab. I know I've been a bit shaky on that recently, but I was on the road for 3 weeks. Back home until I go back home for Thanksgiving next week, but a more normal schedule over the next few weeks, which is nice. So hopefully I'll be a bit more present and a bit more engaged. And I appreciate all the love and support from you wonderful Locked On Stars listeners, all you everydayers out there. Thank you so much. Continue to comment. Let me know your thoughts on the Stars below. Drop a like. Shooting star for tonight against Anaheim. I got to go with Tyler Seguin again because Seguin has scored against all 31 teams in the NHL. Well, I guess he hasn't scored against Utah now, but he's never scored against Anaheim. That's one he's got to check off the list. So I'm going to go Tyler Seguin again. Finally gets his goal against the Ducks. It's been too long. Hopefully he finds the back of the net. That is my shooting star pick for tonight. Let me know in the comments below. Cast your vote on the YouTube community tab. That'll do it for a Monday edition of Locked On Stars. Good to be back with y'all in a normal spot. And we're going to have an awesome week. I hope you have an awesome week. Hope your day is off to a fantastic start. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll break it all down tomorrow. And we'll continue to rock on here on Locked On Stars. Be sure to subscribe. Almost to 2,500 subscribers. Let's get there before the end of the month. I think we can do it. I think we're about less than 200 away. Let's do it. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. So long, Stars fans.